Hello. If you are a member of the Lunar Lights Club already, this will be a supportive video for you. If you're thinking about joining the Lunar Lights Club, hopefully you'll be able to understand why it's so important to understand the 8 phases every month that we all experience. What's nice about the Lunar Lights Club is that you take the passing energy and you understand it through the lens of your own personal chart. Those are the personal charts and the personal reports you receive. But at the basis of this entire work, lunations, is the phase work, the dance between the sun and the moon. So I'm going to give you a quick explanation about the 8 phases and so that you can better understand what's going on upstairs each and every month. Keep in mind this lunar phase work. I really have used, I give credit where credit is due. I used a lot of Dane Rudyard's work in presenting this scenario for you. And well, sit back and enjoy. The sun and the moon, the yin and the yang, the strong solar, the reflective, yes, still strong, lunar, which is more yin. So these two lights represent the two parts, of course, of ourselves: consciousness, which is the sun, unconsciousness, which is the moon, the yin and yang. During the course of a lunar month, the moon changes its phases, right? We start from very dark to crescent and all the way. But now I hope you'll have a greater appreciation of what these particular places in time and space are all about. Let's use the gardening example. So at the new phase, it's as if a seed is germinating. So at the new phase, we begin to see a tiny sliver of light, but we're moving through and from the dark to activate a new principle somewhere, wherever that new moon is falling in your personal chart. So not all new moons are created equal, right? Depending on your chart. If your birthday, any given year, falls on a new moon, you could make this analogy. You'll be in the driver's seat for that upcoming solar year. Well, in any case, after the new phase, we have crescent, and there we have the beautiful crescent moon in the sky, and that represents the plant beginning its development. By the half moon cycle or first quarter phase, the root system is beginning to strengthen, the stem is getting stronger, and then gradually, the light is starting to absolutely wax, and it becomes growing and growing until we get to gibbous. At gibbous phase, the moon looks full, but it's not quite full until it's full. And that's 180 degrees angle between the sun and the moon. At gibbous, it's as if the buds are forming. And it's a magical phase of intuition. We'll get into more detail in just a moment. But the full phase is like the flowering. We can see in the dark, and our garden is complete. At dissemination, the light starts to wane and decrease day by day. So dissemination, the few days after the full moon, it's as if there's a pollination going on. We're trying to disseminate the beauties of the fruit. At last quarter phase, the fruit is fully manifest, and it's like a half moon in the sky. We call it quarter, of course, because it's a 90-degree angle, at which point we're almost at the end of the phase. Once the fruit is fully manifest, then the seed falls and lies dormant, and we go into balsamic phase. Again, if you're a Lunar Lights member, you're not sure which phase you were born under, please give me an email and I'll let you know, because the following is going to be very, very interesting in how you are as a person, although all of us go through all of the 8 phases each and every month. If you are born into the new moon, or if you're going through a new moon of any given month, it's a time of subjectivity. It's an emotional, impulsive approach to life. You're eagerly reaching out towards some deeply felt goal. It's almost as if you're wearing blinders if you're born into this phase, or if you're experiencing this phase, it's almost as if you're having blinders. You're wanting to move forward in a new way. The negative of new moon energy is becoming too scattered with too many things to do at once. At Crescent, those are the folks born into this phase who are determined, they have self assertion, they're always overcoming obstacles. They don't let things stand in their way, they have to struggle through. They have an assurance and a confidence, and they will not be defeated with anything. They're very strong people, but they can encounter more than their share of challenges to get through any particular situation. The sun and the moon are beginning to fall and move apart from each other, but it's an awful, lovely sight in the sky. At the right angles of the first quarter square, these are called the worker bees of the world. They're very strong, inwardly tense, inwardly motivated to get the job done. During this cycle, each and every month, that might be the time that we're trying to manifest our goals. Anger can become an issue with the right angles of the sun and the moon, these types of people. Or during that phase, we might be a little testy, a little bit more tense, and a little bit more frustrated. But a person born under this phase, great willpower and organizing ability. The gibbous time of the month, any given month, is a magical time. I call that the time of intuition. I've taught a lot of intuitive development classes, and everyone is psychic during the gibbous cycle, or so it seems. We're all psychic anyway, but during this time, our intuition is really being activated by the growing light. It's not quite full, however. These people born under this phase often have big dreams and goals, and they're always actively perfecting themselves. They have to develop trust in themselves and in the process of life. However, they get very frustrated. Like the light's almost here, but it's not quite here yet. And the analogy of the gardener is the buds are nearly opened, but they're not quite opened. But at the full phase, they're opened. And if you are born under the full phase, my goodness, you're a charismatic person. You're often two people because you can put yourself into these two different polarities. You can become both emotional and rational, and sometimes you may feel split. But a lot of famous people, celebrities, and leaders and politicians often are born under the full moon because they like to have that empathic natural gift reinforced by the public. Remember, the moon rules the public. During the full moon phase of any given month, we are seen in the light. We have a mental objectivity. It's almost as if it's a relationship time of the month because we're getting more feedback from others and we're feeling more satisfied that we're not just doing it by ourselves anymore. The external world, and usually another human being, is going to give us information and guidance. Alrighty. So the flowers are blooming at the full moon and illumination is taking place. Disseminating types of people, which is the 3 days or so after the full moon, are often teachers and preachers. They like to spread information. They want to demonstrate all that they've learned at the full cycle. And that's also true as we're going through that particular phase of any given month. The moon is losing its light. It's often a time of wanting to disseminate political ideas. Sometimes very fiercely political people are born under disseminating. They're like the Johnny Appleseeds of our life. Last quarter phase. This is another right angle person. These are the folks who are very organized. They like to manage different concepts. They're often a crisis in consciousness during the phase that we're moving through. Sometimes there's a tendency to let go of success and totally reinvent oneself totally when you were born under this phase. You're also a worker bee. You have that internal drive, self-motivated. The fruit is now what ripened. People born under balsamic are kind of like the hermits and the preachers who are very spiritual, not external, wanting to impress others. They hold the fort, so to speak. The light is no longer seen, but the seed is in hiding. Balsamic people are often very intuitive and very sensitive. And during this phase of any given month, it's a time to let go and let God, and wisdom born of deep reflection. So, this is just a review of the 8 phases. Let's take a look how your tools, your written tools, can help you with your membership of the Lunar Lights. Alrighty, I'm going to use my chart. All right. And so this is what I do every month, and I hopefully you guys look at this and learn how to analyze and work with this energy. Everyone gets a um, personalized calendar, and I think it's fairly simple to understand. But the green days are often good days. Green light means go. We have aspects that are very emotional and very driven. For example, as I am doing this particular video for you, the moon in the sky is trining my Jupiter. Jupiter means expansion. So I'm expanding my information to you, right? Blue ink on the calendar are the aspects to your chart. The black ink represents the aspects that everyone is receiving. So the energy in the big sky, but it's not necessarily personalized to you. So again, the blue ink are your aspects. You have to learn, of course, the symbols to read this, um, but it's worth the investment of time to understand that. For example, like on the 6th, for example, the 6th was a neutral day for me, right? Saturday the 6th, we had moon square Jupiter. That was the moon in the sky was squaring my Jupiter, so I may have been feeling a little less appreciated. And at the same time, for everybody, the moon was sextile Jupiter. So personally, it wasn't the best day for me, but overall, the energy on the planet, so to speak, was very positive. So then we take this personalized tool and we put that into English. And so what you are receiving when you have these reports is color coded again. Okay, the more significant and bigger and longer the lines, the more significant the day. Um, and now on any given day, we might have a whole lot of energy. I give this particular report is called the details. It gives you every single aspect that's happening to your chart. Now, it doesn't mean that everything's going to happen on a given day, especially note the times. All right. So if you're not up at 4 in the morning, you may have a dream that's reflecting the aspects. Let me give you an example. Let's see, I'm looking for an aspect early in the morning here relative to my chart. All right. For example, on the 12th of March at 5:48 in the morning, um, there was a transiting moon opposite my moon. So that means the moon in the sky, and there's the symbol for the opposition. The moon in the sky was opposite to my moon. And so that was an internal full moon, make you best inclined to gather the fruits the last couple of weeks, making the best of the harvest. Projects should have adequate input by now. The crop is out. It's now time to start tending to the harvest. So that was a pretty good aspect, right? It wasn't like over the top, but it wasn't a negative aspect at all. And then we had, for example, on March 13th, for everybody, it wasn't my new moon, it was the new moon. And it's shown here moon conjunct, symbol for conjunction, sun at 5:22 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. And then it gives you a description of what the new moon is. Now, and then it gets personal. This new moon that was happening was in my 6th house. my sixth house. So it says new moon, sixth house. What's the sixth house? The sixth house is health and work. And indeed, that's what I'm trying to work on, my personal health in 2021 as of March 13th and my work. So if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to ask. The other type of report is less visual and more words, and these are all from Matrix. So this particular report, the Cosmos report, is less wordy, you might say. And let's open it up here. Um, and it goes from month to month. So, for example, on the 17th, this is just personal to me. This is not giving all the other aspects. So one report gives all the aspects for everybody, all the transits, and this style of report is just personal to me. That's both. This is just me. So on March 17th, the sun was opposite my Venus. Oh, how interesting. I might be feeling particularly affectionate. All right. Um, I want the company of my love partner or close friends is important to me. And in fact, this was that type of day, right? I had some really great conversations with loved ones, and a lot of affection was exchanged. And, did I do that because I read it first? No, because I didn't read it until right this minute. So it's often a fantastic tool to be the Monday morning quarterback. Have these reports as reflective tools. Some of you may journal and you might want to use these tools as you're journaling. So again, this form of the written reports are primarily and only about your chart. The other form gives all the transits for everybody and it's color coded. Alrighty, so I hope this was helpful to you. And again, especially if you are already a member of the Lunar Lights Club, I really appreciate your support. Don't hesitate to ask questions, and happy staring up the sky. Keep on shining like the star you are, because that's what this astrology is all about, finding our inner worth and acknowledging it by the climate outside, among other things. All right, so have a great afternoon, evening, or morning.